Okay. It has been quite a bit of a weekend so far. Um, Welcome to the stream. Yeah. So, welcome to Missouri. I'm in a random Airbnb, just kind of jammed into the corner, hanging out. So, here we are. Um, yeah. I don't really have anything. I mean, I have a lot to talk about generally speaking, but I've just got about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit less, to just hang out. So, yeah, I guess we'll just jump right in. Let's see, got everything going here. All right, looks like we have Doc and Justin. Nice backdrop slash curtain, says Doc. Yeah, it's just the corner of my room. There's really nothing special here. My stuff's just all jammed everywhere. You can probably hear the AC running, but I need it, so I'm not going to turn it off. And there, we'll get this framed. Yeah, it's kind of weird not to have discs just hanging out behind me. It's really kind of strange. And we got Justin saying, yo, what's up, Justin? Doc says, how was the trip? Car, snacks, did you listen to the radio? Interesting questions, Doc. I don't think I've listened to the radio in the last 8 years. Um, but I listened to music, yes. That was probably maybe a third of the drive. I was listening to music. I listened to a couple of podcasts, and then I called and got called by a bunch of different people, a couple of friends, my parents. So had a lot of different phone calls and conversations. That was really nice. A good way to stay awake during the last couple hours of the trip in particular. So thank you everybody, including my parents, for calling me and kind of having that hangout time with me in the car. But yeah, definitely some music. Let's see, am I at a good angle? I guess this is fine. Everyone else over their fantasy football. Uh, yeah, so I haven't even looked at it. I've been so busy. Didn't even take a glance at it. Don't even know what my team name is or what teams I have or how any of that works. Whatever. I'll still dominate. Undoubtedly, I will lose, if not last place, which would be very, very funny. But yeah, so I drove 13 hours, long day on Friday, arrived around 9 p.m. local time, so it would have been 10 p.m. For me normally, but I gained an hour, so it was a little bit earlier in the day, and just kind of hung out a little bit in the Airbnb, but pretty much crashed, just wiped out, fell asleep. Then Saturday morning, I got up and I had to do some grocery shopping. I had to grab some extra supplies. The Airbnb is decent for sure, but they only have supplies for a couple of days. So only like a couple rolls of paper towel, toilet paper, not really Kleenex boxes, just kind of like little things like that. So I snagged some of those essentials and then got a bunch of groceries, made my food for the week, got my cowboy beans all prepped, and then headed out for my first round of practice. But it was like 2:30 when I finally hit the course. So with filming and with 250 putts, took me a while to get through my first practice round. Got back tired, just completely wiped out yesterday. Hey, Jacob Stoner, roommate, leaving soon, ETA 11-ish. All right. Jacob was at Ledgestone, so he's coming through this evening, and we'll be hanging out a little bit tomorrow, getting some practice in. I got 2 of the 3 courses practiced. So I had a really great practice round today at Harmony Bends. My opinion of the course is that it's quite good. They do a good job of using elevation change, but nothing is ridiculous like Toboggan. And by that I mean it's not pro tour level in terms of difficulty. Although I could see a pro tour event doing quite well at Harmony Bends, it wasn't quite that tough. We played the middle layout for everything pretty much, and I got a lot of birdies, so I was very happy about that. I actually got a lot of birdies, so it was really really good practice, um, despite playing it blind. So I think it's a little bit easier than the course I played yesterday, and I'll have to see about the third course, which I'll be out playing tomorrow. All right. Doc says I'll fight you for last place in the fantasy football. Nick James says love your beard. Thank you. I think it's cohesive. It keeps all of the face together. Stoner says, thank gosh, Toboggan was too tough. Yes, I think it's reasonable elevation change and it makes it fun and interesting, but definitely some shot shapes that are going to be tough to hit. Got to hit with precision. But I did appreciate. I'll be dropping my practice round of my first course, the Joseph C. Miller course, and I have a couple of complaints about some of the holes, just because partway there the fairway basically evaporates. There's just too many trees. There's no real fairway or gaps that you're supposed to hit. It's just chuck it through the wall of trees and hope. I think that's silly, especially on a par three. But even on some par fours, it was kind of dumb. Harmony Bends doesn't have that. In fact, the only time I thought that was the case, when I actually walked up, I saw that the fairway does shape in toward the green. It's just a tricky angle. So I very much appreciate Harmony Bends for having reasonable fairways when there are woods. The distant shots reward power, but they don't require massive bombs. You don't have to throw 500 feet to get your birdies. If you want eagles, maybe. But yeah, there's the OB is everywhere, but it's mostly reasonable. Only a few holes where it's very, very close to the basket. So yeah, it's a fun course. It's a good course. Doc says, nice day here, work, but we got pizza extra for supper, ice cream cake, and rocket popsicle. All right, that sounds like a nice day. Doc says, Stoner, I need you to win. I'll try to get Smashbox TV to call you out again. That's great. That'd be cool. Doc going out there putting the work in. Heck yeah. Yeah, the courses are definitely interesting. I mean, I can see Stoner placing very, very highly in the field here, but 288, there's a lot of really, really good amateurs competing this weekend. But there's also, because the field is so big and the way that you can earn entry into Amateur Worlds. I probably said US Amateurs. The two majors, getting those mixed up. But because of the way that you can qualify for Am Worlds, you can qualify based on your rating. You can also qualify based on points earned. So if you just play enough events and beat a few people every time, you can, over the course of the year, accumulate enough points to actually earn your way into Amateur Worlds. So I actually met a guy today, really great guy. He happened to recognize me from some YouTube shorts, and we talked for 20, 30 minutes about putting and disc golf and YouTube. It was really great. And he's rated, I believe he said 908, 904. And I'm sure that he can play well enough to make the cut. But a lot of people are competing this weekend who aren't 990 rated. Like, there's going to be a handful of those top level amateurs for sure. But the field is so broad that we're going to have a lot of 905, 910 rated amateurs. And if you're playing really well, there's a lot of people out there to beat for sure. So I think as long as I'm putting well, like I have been, both of my practice rounds, I missed one circle one putt. So I'm very happy about that. Very consistent on the putting green. Today I hit a nice circle two putt. Did I hit two? Circle two putts? Maybe I hit two. I'm trying to remember. At least one nice, like 45, 48 foot C2 putt for birdie. And feeling pretty good on the putting green. Feeling very comfortable. Hitting a lot of metal when I don't make it from distance. Even today, I nubbed out of my putt. Like, it had the pace to go over the cage, but caught the nub and popped off to the side. So obviously, it's lower than I want to putt, but it had a chance of going in if the nub was in a different angle. That nub is evil. Hey, Quatrix R6 says, yo, hey, thanks for hopping on, man. Check out that. If you're into Rainbow Six Siege, you gotta check out that channel. Some nice highlights, live streams going on over there. Doc says, hoping this weekend me and my new bestie, Pickleball, will go play some disc golf. Fingers crossed. Doc, I don't know if you want to play with that guy. He's probably worse than you at disc golf. His brother is better, but he's pretty bad. Scoopy Sand says hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Candlelight says, keep up the great work, bro. Love your videos. Thank you. Really appreciate it. That means a lot. Definitely, it's definitely exciting to be here competing for Am Worlds. So, by the way, that starts Tuesday. So I have one more day of practice tomorrow and time to hopefully get some rest in. My back is feeling a little bit tight. I think the 2,000 putts are starting to add up a little bit. Thankfully, I'm well over 1,800 putts as of today, so I really don't need too many extra putts tomorrow. Just a bit of a warm up, maybe 60 or 70, and then I'll get in a casual round, just to get in a little bit of practice after the actual practice round that I get, just to stay warm, and I'll hit that 2,000 putt mark, and I'm feeling good about it. But it's really exciting to, gosh, travel partway across the country for a competition. It's kind of crazy, kind of crazy. Yeah. Doc says, as long as Brent isn't playing, I'm rooting for you, Brad. Brent is not playing, and I don't want to rat out Brent, but he had a bad round at Nevin today. But to be fair to Brent, I don't know the circumstances. Apparently, he hit his head on a tree branch or something, and said that he was feeling dizzy for like 20 minutes. He thinks that he could have gotten a concussion, but the guy played the rest of the round. Make better choices, kids. But to be fair to Brent, he may have been concussed, and so he didn't play the best round of golf. Unfortunate. But no, Brent is not here. He's definitely home with the baby and the wife, and having a, well, maybe he's at the hospital. I don't know. He hasn't texted me in a while. But hopefully he's healthy, safe, and having a good evening with the family. You know them in real life? Thought they were a troll? Yes, I do know him. Well, I know his brother in real life. I know his brother in real life. Quatrick says your channel is better. My channel has just been here longer. Just keep going. A couple more years. Doc doesn't feel catfished. I mean, technically, I've never met the guy. Timmy says, how's your game been lately? Pretty good. Today, I went 7 down at Harmony Ben's playing it blind. I don't know how that's going to play in tournament, but I have a feeling that 8 down is 1,000 rated. And I took a double bogey in the last hole. Partially due to hole description and advice that didn't quite match the actual hole, and maybe wouldn't have been what I wanted to do. Actually, I threw 2 shots off the tee, played through the second shot all the way, and had a tap-in birdie. Actually ran a 105-foot eagle putt and tapped in the birdie. But my official throw, double bogey. So that's what happens, I guess. But feeling really good. Practice is feeling really good. I putt with Wardens. JMH says, what putters do you use? I putt with Wardens. They work great for me. And I use the base plastic, prime plastic, so I can have a stack of 11 for doing a lot of extra putting practice, which has helped me get my 2,000 putts in the last 10 days. Annie Boston says, hello from Russia. I speak English a little, and I'm here for training and listening skills. Awesome. Well, welcome. Appreciate you being here, and I'll try to enunciate everything pretty well so that I don't skip over any words that you can pick up on. Erwin says, Norris Chuck, how are you doing, Brad? Doing great. Doing great. Excited. I'm just happy to be here. Missouri is very hot right now. I don't know why, but I thought that it would be cooler over here. It's not. It's just as hot as Charlotte has been, which is to say about 95 degrees and pretty humid. But that's okay. I am fine with heat. There are some storms apparently in the forecast for Tuesday. Bummer. But otherwise, weather looks great. It looks like 83 to 90 some degrees for the next 5 days. I'll take it, especially if the rain is limited and doesn't last. That would be great. Lucas says, Lucas Williams, #1 fan, says, I'm new to the sport, accidentally hit Tibby Buckles in the face. Okay. Well, welcome to the sport. Doc says, well, hey, we talk about disc golf and other stuff. Disc golf is a game like golf using disc and frisbee. Yes, good description. So yes, disc golf discs. I don't have a frisbee because I'm not at home. But disc golf discs are designed to fly further and faster than a blunted frisbee is intended to. And there's a big difference between a putter and a driver. Very different. Hope Brent is okay. Yes, I think he's fine, but yes, I also hope he's okay. Nima says, what's up, dude? Just hanging out in Missouri for Amateur Worlds. Very excited. Competition starts Tuesday. Hopefully not 9 a.m. Hopefully like 11 or so. I would love for my tee time to be after 11. That'd be great. And if I play well, it'll stay late every round. Uh, Book Girly says, "Wow, you look like Ed Sheeran or Ron Weasley in a good way." Hey, I'll take that. I have gotten Ed Sheeran a couple of times, mostly on the live streams. Just have that little bit of, especially in the beard, I have that tinge of red for sure. But almost none of the musical talent. So sorry to disappoint. Ron Weasley though, I haven't really gotten that. Hmm. I don't have a big family, so I don't fit quite as well, but I'll take it. A little bit of Rupert Grint. I could run an ice cream truck. I think I do fine. Erwin says, "That's nothing, Brad. I flipped a golf cart on the seventh hole playing golf and had a hematoma on my leg and still finished all 18 holes." Okay. I used to donate plasma and I would get a hematoma every couple of weeks. And so I did some soccer training, some college soccer practice after donating. Um, Again, not the best choice, not the smartest. I've this arm wrap around my elbow from where I like to make sure I'm not going to bleed everywhere. And I'm trying to like practice soccer and I have this all wrapped up. And of course, like after donating plasma, you don't replenish everything, later in that day. So I was a little bit tired, a little bit silly of me. Doc says Charlotte has been nice and cool while you're gone. Oh, that's too bad. John says hi, young man. Appreciate you being here, John. Doc says wait. What if any? I'm sorry. What? What if what if any is like that couple from The Americans? If you're a spy, you have to tell us. I'm lost. Totally lost. I don't know if that's a reference to a show. Yeah, completely. I have no idea what you're talking about. What's your favorite movie on Disney Plus? I don't actually have Disney Plus right now, but that's a good question. I believe all the Spider-Man movies are on Disney Plus, so I would have to say whichever Spider-Man movies are on Disney Plus. No Way Home is probably the top. It's the culmination of the three sets of Spider-Man movies that all come together, and it's been long enough. I'll spoil it. Of course, with the appearances of both of the other Peter Parkers in the movie, it's just so good. It's just so good. So that would probably be it. That'd be my top choice. If the Spider-Mans aren't on there, I don't know what Disney Plus is doing, but they're dropping the ball. Celov says hello. Thanks for hopping on, joining us. Doc says Timmy's still him. I still don't understand. Caleb Sneed says, "Do you push or spin putt? I've noticed in a couple of your videos you seem to do both. It's a bit of a combination, but it's more of a push putt. So push putts do have spin on them for sure, and the way that I generate my power tends to be toward my right hip, not across my body. So I don't come across my left hip and come through with spin. I go down to my right hip and pop it up into the air. So my form is more of a push putt, but I do get some extra, more spinny pop to my putts, and especially with the long jump putt, I do get a little bit more spin going with it, but it's more of a push putt than a spin putt. A little bit inspired actually by some old Greg Barsby videos on putting that I saw from him, where he would loft his putt way high and then drop it just below the band into the chains. And I did a similar style to him for quite a while, but I've adopted it, shifted it a little more to a forward, lower hyzer putt instead of a high nose down putt. I still have a little bit of nose down, a little bit of hyzer to it, but that tends to be my putting style. And it works really well for me because in the circle, it feels very, very accurate. I don't tend to miss right or left. It tends to be just a little higher, a little low, which normally drops down for a little tap in. So that's really nice. I almost never three putt in the circle. If I'm missing a circle one putt, I'm not missing my second one because I'm so close afterwards. I do shift a little bit in my longer putts, but my putting style, my form doesn't change too much, more of just a straddle step or a jump putt so that I can generate that power a little bit more easily. But I tend to be able to jump putt within 120 feet, and it's a pretty easy follow-up tap-in circle one putt to kind of get through the hole. And I've made a lot of long, like 70 to 95 foot putts, a few of them in competition. So you never know, they could go in. Candlelight says, do you have a favorite disc? I would say yes, I do. And a couple of my favorite discs are the Brave, and this Brave in particular signed by two-time world champion Isaac Robinson himself. And also, one of my favorites is this specific Echo, but the Echo in general is really good. This has been in the bag for years, most of the time that I've played disc golf, and I have aced with it and won $200 worth of discs in that ace. And I aced playing against Rand and Latta and then beat him in a CTP to win those discs, which was really cool. So these are two of my favorite discs, the Echo and the Brave. Definitely up there. I need to not leave them out of my bag. They have to stay in the bag. Caleb Sneed said, been practicing your style in the front yard. New to disc golf, and the spin putting is very inconsistent for me. Yeah, I've found, especially in the circle, you really don't have to spin putt. You don't need the glide to make most of your putts. When it gets super windy, maybe it helps some, and when you're putting from further, maybe it makes a difference. I tend to loft my putt up to the right, have it hyzer in from outside the circle. But yeah, whatever style tends to be comfortable for you, anything that hits the chains a lot, go with it. And if spin putting just isn't doing it, then try the push putt, try the straddle putt. I've even seen people just get stuck and they're just not making putts, and they'll horseshoe putt or something like that. But yeah, just keep experimenting a little bit. But maybe my putting style will work for you. That'd be great. I hope so. Doc says, don't really care for the Avengers movies, more of a DC Batman guy. Um, Spider-Man is not an Avengers movie, though. He is an Avenger in the latest set of Marvel movies, but Spider-Man movies are not Avengers movies. Not the same. They are Marvel movies, but Doc says at Candlelight, get him talking about Taco and Brave. He'll talk all night. I'd like the Taco, but definitely isn't a favorite. It's in the bag for a good reason, but isn't a favorite disc. Doc says love the passion though, pun intended. Jake says I Jake says I seem to have a hard time keeping in control when trying to step forward or jump forward. That's putts in control, not pets. I was like, what am I reading? Yeah, it doesn't work for everyone. It depends on your style. If you have more of a spin putt, then a straddle jump putt probably doesn't work too well for you. It's all about timing. Maybe you're letting go of the putt too late. Actually, if you're letting go of your putt illegally, I find it's much harder to make. Because if you're already in the air and then you're swinging and letting go, the power generation is already dissipating because you've jumped. You want to let go while you're still springing off the ground, while you're touching the ground, is when you want to let go of the disc because that's when you have the maximum momentum that you've generated. So it could just be timing. It could be your form just doesn't match with it, but there probably is a jump or step putt style that does match your form. If you have a really spinny putt, you can stance differently. So instead of a straddle, you can stagger your stance and kind of begin to step over your disc and spin, putt, release, and generate more power that way. Let's see, who's a good example to look at for that style? Luke Taylor, I think, putts like that, where he step putts with spin. I'm trying to think. But yeah, try to look up a couple of professionals who putt like that. They'll probably be helpful inspiration. But yeah, it just depends on your exact form. I had a lot of people tell me that they struggle with the timing, and I totally get it. But I just tried it a lot in my yard with a lot of experimentation, and then suddenly something started to work. I've also adapted for closer putts a straddle step, not a full jump, but more of a controlled shift forward and putt, and then I step across my lie after I let go of the disc, and that seems to generate power for me without sacrificing accuracy. Rodrigo Palmas says hi. Caleb Sneed, oop, I scrolled, says that explanation will definitely help. Okay, good. Jake says I tend to do a hard spin putt while leaning forward on my front leg hard. Okay, so yeah, it may be the way you shift your weight is early, and that the step doesn't actually help you. I'm not sure. Yeah, just depends on what might work for you. I would just recommend trying some experimenting with the timing. Try to release the putt a little bit later or a little bit earlier as you step across. But it may be that the way you brace, you tend to generate your power and brace into it and let go with a snappy putt. And it might not, you might not need step putting. Timmy says, you play video games ever? Yes, I actually even have a video game channel as well, Birdietime Gaming. I haven't done too much over there, just a couple of videos that I've edited and some live streams. But lately with Am Worlds and traveling halfway across the country, I have let go of that for the moment. I'll be back making videos over there as well as the disc golf videos at the same time, but that is temporarily on hold. But yes, play a lot of Rocket League with my buddies. I really enjoy survival crafting games like Ark Survival and playing Grounded with a buddy right now. We're having a great time with that, killing bugs everywhere. Spiders are terrifying. Conan was very fun, and also enjoy single player RPGs. Skyrim was great. I've been playing Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege as well. So I've just got kind of a conglomerate of games that I enjoy playing, but those are a few of the ones that I played lately. Doc says, Jake making my knee hurt, LL. Raj says, where are you from? I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm in Missouri right now for Am Worlds. Doc says, Caleb, if you find a putt you like, find a pro who does it, and they will probably have training videos. Maybe. Doc says, Avengers equals MCU, sorry. Not true. That's too broad of a statement. Shameful. Doc says, couldn't remember what they were called. Raj says, where are you from? Again, I already answered that. Hey, we have, I remember you. You're the disc guy, yes. And you are the guy that I cannot pronounce your name. And I'll never be close. So I won't even try, but welcome back. And thanks for the comment about seeing me on my live stream the other day. And appreciate you coming back to hang out. Doc says, no, Brent is the disc guy, but Brad likes discs too. Trying to confuse people, but no. Get stories in your feed from you. All right. Heck yeah. Showing up in the algorithm. I love it. Caleb says, being new to the disc golf community, I watched Gannon's putting technique. It's definitely not for me. I have to feel like I'm throwing an Anheuser putt for it to travel straight. Not a good feel. Yes. I mean, he definitely knows what he's doing personally for himself. But I think some of his putting style relies on his height and wingspan to generate and snap the putt the way that he does. And for other people who aren't Slenderman type bodies, like we can't really do that. But for him, it works really well. And I'm sure that he has helped a lot of people develop a better putt. But I don't putt like him at all. I have nothing. I have a very slow, lofty putt, hyzered, nose down, and he has a very, very fast spinny putt that slams into the chains. I almost never spit through chain out. I chain out, but I don't bounce back off the pole because my putt just hits and falls. I just drop into the basket when I hit chains. Very different style. Doc says, if a Conan fan, the TV show from 97 was pretty good. Like he wasn't a simpleton, more like from the book. Interesting. The game is just fun. It's just a good crafting game. You can get some animals, you can build, but there's also a pretty good progression system of quests. You kind of have 3 quests at a time that are prompting you to explore the world, to build certain types of buildings, get a certain type of animal as a pet, or kill something. And eventually they'll start prompting you toward where boss locations are. So there's really not a cohesive story, but there's a really good heavy-handed hints of where the game progresses to, and it develops over time. It's really nice. Belepter says, hello from Germany. Where are you from? Greetings. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina in the United States, and I've traveled a few hours across the United States, 13 by car to be exact, to compete in amateur worlds here in Missouri. So, and that is disc golf, by the way. It's hard because I don't have discs here, but I wonder if I could jam something up here. I don't think that's gonna work. Oh well, I tried. Doc says, Caleb, you might think I'm crazy, but as a noob, maybe try the FPO putting, then when feel more secure, go to the MPO. Is there an FPO putting form versus MPO putting form? I don't know what that means. Caleb says, Doc, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I really don't. Do you even send Snakemen back to their realm? Animated Conan joke. I think there are some types of. There are definitely snakes. I'm trying to think if there are snake men in the game. It's very much a Conan themed game. You don't play as Conan the Barbarian himself. You play in the Conan universe. So it's not intended to be super lore accurate. So, no, I don't think you do. The women putt more with their legs because they don't have the arm strength like the guys usually. I don't know. I've never really observed FPO putting form being a cohesive thing that's different from MPO putting form. I'll have to think about that more. But if you put like Owen Scoggins or Kristen Tatar, you'll do just fine. I definitely have a couple of similar putts to Kristen. Some of her straddle putts are somewhat similar to the way that I do things. I don't think that I patterned after her with any sort of intention or inspiration, but we kind of have some similarities in some of the things that we do with a straddle and straddle step for some of the putts as well. I'm a little bit hyzer on them, but she's more spinny than I am. Hers are less height to them, more direct at the chains, and they glide their way in, and I more pop it up and drop it in. Holland Hanley was dropping some deep putts. Yeah, she's great. She's very good. Caleb says, any idea why I can throw my Buzz ESP 300 feet, but my Firebird only 280? Yes, it's because your Firebird is overstable. Yes, that would be my answer. There are a few, like I throw several mid ranges further than my Captain's Raptor because my Cap Rap dives to the left. I would have to throw a massive Anheuser Flex, and I still am not going to actually get probably much over 300 at maximum. So it's just the shot shape that it's used for. Firebird, a Raptor, Captain's Raptor, those are supposed to fade a lot, and they don't have tons and tons of glide, and they're not going to fly straight for you. But a Buzz is supposed to go dead straight, and it doesn't really fade so much. It may drift left if you don't have the arm speed, like the way that I was throwing a Buzz a couple of years ago, before I switched to the Echo, which I think is better. Fighting words. But the Buzz is just designed to go straight pretty much. So you don't have to fight the fade. You don't have to do a flex shot with a Buzz. You can just rip it in a straight line and it can go 300 feet, but your Firebird's going to fight its way to the side. Doc says, because you need dragons and shoes. If you want rollers, pick up your dragon. And if you want a good replacement for now that disc slipped my mind, Stingray. If you want a good replacement for a Stingray, go with a shoe. They are interesting. Doc says, and I pretend to be a doc online so you can trust me. That's valid. That's valid. Where's my water? I have water here somewhere. Hot day today. Hot practice round. And I drank a lot of water, but I'm still making sure I'm keeping up. Stu G says, measure out practice courses for myself in local city parks where there's no existing course. What would be the best DJI gimbal camera to use to record those fairways? I have no idea. I have no advice for you. I'm sorry. But that sounds fun. It's like a combination between the old style hobo golf or like make your own frisbee golf course and having a legit course with a space. Caleb says my longest disc is my Rolo thrown on heavy Anheuser. Interesting. Heavy Anheuser with a Rolo. I assume that's a roll. I hope you're rolling that and not throwing a flex shot with a Rolo. Is it an iron flask? It's not. It's just a hydro flask. Yeah. whatever that means. I don't know. It keeps it cold though. That's nice. So when I pack it with a good amount of ice, it'll last with very cold water for the whole round, which is great. Yeah. I even had a water, had a Gatorade after my round to try to just replenish everything. Man, I was sweating so much until the end when it actually got a little breezy, which was kind of nice. Felt better, but I didn't throw as well in the wind, so whatever. Hey, Zach's here. Thanks for dropping in, Zach. Appreciate you being here. Caleb says it's a sick-looking flight when it flips. Yes, the Rolo is very, very cool. Very interesting. Eddie Spaghetti says, "Hey, cutie." Hi, welcome to the stream. Doc says, Caleb gotta wait for a windy day and they will just drop. Doc says, "Hey, Eddie, and thank you." Oh, he meant you? No, I don't know, Doc. It might have been addressed to you. There's no way of knowing. There's no way to confirm. So, as far as I know, you can just claim it for yourself. Candlelight says, hydrate or dehydrate, kids. That's good. Yes. You don't want to do that. I have seen people in competitive disc golf get heat exhaustion. It is not pretty. It's not fun. And you would hate to drop out of a competition or just have a horrible day because you're not drinking enough water. So drink water. Water is good for you. Don't be like Doc and only drink a gallon of soda every day. Drink water. Doc says, I could use the compliment today. After 12 hours in the dust room, I'm a mess. Doc, that's not a reflection of your true self, just because you're all grimy from hard work. In fact, the hard work makes you beautiful. Drank like 2 bottles of water today, thank you. Like 16-ounce bottles, because that's not that much. Big, like, liter bottles? Okay, I accept. That would be better. Obviously, out in the heat, it makes your water consumption different. I have had, let's see, let's calculate. Between yesterday and today, I finished off a gallon of water, and I refilled from water jugs out on the course multiple times. So I've definitely had more than, I would say I've at least had 80 ounces of water every day, just water, along with, food and other things, Gatorades, multiple Gatorades, one each day. Yeah, stay hydrated. A gallon in 2 days. The tournament director a couple of tournaments ago said that we should be have 3 gallons of water with us on the course to stay hydrated. That's excessive. You're going to swell your brain and die if you drink 3 gallons of water in 2 hours. Caleb Sneed says, do you have a logo? I don't right now. This is kind of a funny story. I originally had a kind of verbal agreement in place to get a logo and some clothing, some apparel from a friend. That has not been communicated back to me. I've been ghosted for about 2 months now. Then I had somebody offer to put together a logo for me a couple of weeks ago. I was very excited. And I won't say ghosted, but I haven't heard back in a couple of weeks. So I'm kind of still hoping that that's happening. But he might have had some stuff come up. I totally understand. So I'm hoping that that's still happening. But it's possible that that's falling through as well, which would be a bummer. But no logo. Not yet. Caleb says, imagine carrying 3 gallons in your bag. Yes. The thought process was, I think what was happening was the tournament director wanted everybody to bring as much water as possible so that because they didn't provide enough, they wouldn't get in trouble or get people mad at them for not having enough water provided. The second round of that tournament, there were 2 water stations. It was 90 plus degrees. There were 2 water stations through 18 holes. And one of the 2 water stations was not in a cooler. It was just a bunch of water bottles on the ground. hot water just sitting out. Not acceptable, and not up to PDJ guidelines either. Very, very uncool, if you catch my drift. But the final round actually was the best of the three, and they actually had enough water on the course for everybody, from what I understood. But yeah, I think the idea was blame the players for not bringing enough water for themselves because you're drinking so much of our water. No, no, no. You provide water for the players to replenish. Yes, we're supposed to bring our own water bottles. Yes, we're supposed to be prepared, but we can't take gallons of water with us when we're competing. That's idiotic. Anyway, Ellie says, what is the channel about? This is a disc golf channel. So I have disc golf discs here. I would normally have my collection behind me, but I am traveling actually for a disc golf tournament called Amateur Worlds, and I traveled from North Carolina to Missouri to compete. But these, unlike frisbees, these are designed to fly further and faster. They're very, not sharp, but they're not blunted at the ends. I don't actually have a frisbee with me, but it's closer to like a putter where it's all rounded. But a driver is intended for distance, and they actually fly very far. But just like the rules of golf, you see how many shots it takes you to get it into the basket, and that's your score for the hole, and you try to play under par. That's why you need a Zuka cart. Even with a Zuka cart, you can't do 3 gallons, man. There's no space. Can we do logos and post to the Discord? Yes, that would be great. I should do a logo contest from you guys. Hot water, grab a tea bag, and 2 cups of sugar. Caleb says, I make leather patch hats, no other clothing. If you have something in mind, I'd be happy to do a couple hats free of charge. Ooh, that sounds really cool. If I can get a logo together, I would be happy to talk with you about it. That would be really cool. Yeah. Doc says, Ellie, disc golf is like golf, but with discs / frisbees. There you go. Disc Cali DG says, yo, thanks for hopping on and joining. Zach says, where are you? I'm in Missouri. So I'm in Columbia, Missouri, and there are 4 courses being used for Amateur Worlds, but one of them is only for the FA1 players, the females. And so 3 courses that I'm learning and trying to practice for. I have 1 more day of practice tomorrow, and then if I make the cut, 5 days of competition on these 3 courses for Amateur Worlds. Huge amateur event, 288 players in the MA1 division out here competing. And so it's a massive field. I'm really hoping to make the cut for the final day. And even more, I would love to be like top 30. Would be amazing. Top 10%. That's my goal. Hey, Marcelino. What's up, bro? Thanks for hopping on, man. Gonna make the cut. I hope so. I feel very good about it. I had a good practice round yesterday and a great practice round today. And I think if I'm playing like this, and now that I've learned some where OB is, and maybe what disc to throw off the tee because of my second and third shots, I think I can score pretty well. If I keep putting well, I think I make the cut. But we'll see. Doc says, honest question for logo. If you use part of an Innova logo, would you get in trouble? Probably. It depends on how much of a part it is. If it's tiny, then it's probably fine, but you can't steal patented intellectual property or design property like that. Erwin says, any national sports network covering the tournament? I have not heard of any coverage, but I do believe that U.S. Amateurs, the lead card, was filmed. So I would not be surprised if Am Worlds has lead and chase card filmed. But I have not heard where or anything like that. So I'll just have to find out and try to let you guys know. Maybe I can post about it. Innova crossover logo will just have to be for fun. Okay, so you're talking like a parody. Yeah, you probably can't get away with that, but maybe. Minnie says, what room? I'm just in a room in an Airbnb in Missouri. So I just am it's just a bedroom. Yeah, nothing special. I have some random little bits of artwork on the wall and all of my stuff scattered all over the place, including extra discs. These are all of the spare discs that I brought, Doc. This is all I brought, and I haven't touched them. I haven't touched any of them. I haven't needed to grab discs and put into the bag for anything. Ugh. Only extra putters have been used so far. Doc says if he had shaved the beard, he could have been in teen AMs. Better chance of winning? Maybe. Junior amateur events are stock filled with some of the best players ever. Uh, do you play Genis? I don't know what that means. Marcelino says, did my first MA3 tournament last weekend and it went not terrible. Hey, that's awesome. Congrats. That's really cool. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it was fun. Sometimes tournament experiences can have too much pressure on them, but I hope that you just had a good time. Caleb Sneed says, is your email posted anywhere? It may or may not be, but I'll just type it out for you if I can. If I can. And that should be correct. Glad I was wrong about your spares. Yeah, it's just I just don't have that many extra shot shapes that aren't in my bag. So only once or twice have I thought, I'm not sure if I have a disc that does this. And when I think that, I don't think, oh, I have the disc at home. Like I just don't really have a disc that does that. So at least not one that I trust. So yeah, I feel very prepared. My bag is handling the courses really well. And it's just a matter of executing my shots consistently and hitting a lot of putts. Yeah. Even Irwin, I Googled, seems like just DGN and Terry Miller. Maybe some local news might pick it up. DGN and Terry Miller. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, that's good enough. Yeah, for disc golf. That's pretty nice. I'm sure I won't make any coverage. Please don't expect me to. I will compete and do my best this week. But there are so many really, really good amateurs who are going on to the Pro Tour in the next few years. I'm not one of those. Doc says, oh, what's your bag and how's the top pocket, bottom pocket? Any issues when you have discs in top pocket? No, so yes, this is my, here. Okay, I got this. I've lifted this so many times this weekend. Okay. Latitude bag. No issue with discs in the top pocket. Just keep a bunch of putters up here, a couple of towels. No problem. I don't zip it up usually unless it's raining. And then I have about 5 discs up on top. And then I have 17 discs on the bottom. That's what I've got. About 22 discs, sometimes 23, 24, but usually 22 is my baseline for how many discs I have. Then I have rangefinder, water, 4 extra towels for rainy days, which come in handy. Phone in a side pocket, wallet, keys, a couple of extra minis just in case somebody doesn't have one or I lose one. I have lost at least like 4 minis probably in my lifetime. Extra pair of socks, very important. Sometimes I have 2 extra pairs of socks if I know it's going to be wet out. Caleb says, sweet, I'll hit you up to discuss a style or design. I've made several logos for other content creators, but nothing for disc golf. That'd be super cool. I'm very interested in that. Thank you. Not yet. Yes, not yet. Doc says, all my bags, if top pocket is full, makes it rough getting discs out of the bottom. When I get ready for a new one, might copy you. Yeah, I have no issue getting discs out of the bottom. The main thing is that the bottom of the bag flexes. So when you're pulling a disc out, you don't have to shove up discs. You just pull kind of lower and it flexes a little bit to let the disc out. So it's a pretty good bag. I don't know the exact brand. Somebody told me. I know it's not the Latitude Core bag. It's, I think, a step down in price from that, which is great. But yeah. Zach says, still have not played. That is a bummer. Hopefully you get out there soon. Dill Anthony says, hey, score a birdie for my 2 discs I lost today. I will. I lost a disc too. I hope I can get it back because there should be a pretty decent lost and found program for Am Worlds. But it's my Project Grip Brave. Guys, I threw it as an extra shot on 18, dunked it into the water on the left, and then the guy who was playing the last hole with me told me that I should just get it later when we walk around the back. And I got all my stuff. I went to the car, remembered it, went back for it. It was gone. So apparently somebody fished it out and just took it to the lost and found, I hope. But there wasn't, it wasn't at the hole one table where there were some lost discs. I don't know where it is. I hope I can get it back because I'm supposed to do a disc review on that. And the disc is great. As an extra shot, that hurts. Yes. Yes. It was sad. And I didn't even forget it. I just delayed a couple extra minutes. I should have just gotten it right away. But I was trying to play through the last hole with this guy and wrap up the filming. And I just listened to him, and I should have just crossed over, grabbed it, made sure that I had it. Because even someone well intentioned could snag it and just not remember to put it in the lost and found. This is Missouri. I wouldn't even be able to get it if I leave. And then somebody tries to get a hold of me afterward. And I tried to post about it in the Amateur Worlds app. And after I signed in, I went to post it, and it's like, oh, you're not an approved poster. Make sure you get permission from the tournament director. I'm like, what? What does that even mean? What is the lost disc portion of the app for if we're not even approved to post in it? So I did ask just right before the stream, like 5 minutes. I asked in the forum in the event, and I joined one of the Columbia Facebook pages about lost discs. So hopefully it turns up and I get it back. I would hate to go through the pain of buying another Project Grip Brave again and hoping that it actually arrives again and that it's in stock. Caleb says, I did make my own mini, stupid tree on one side and birdie or bogey with a basket on the other side. That's very cool. That's very cool. Water danger and you threw your Project Grip Brave. Yes. I throw discs that I trust. Yeah. It's not deep water either. It's just a little creek. Maybe 4 feet deep at the deepest. But it was a bad throw, and I still barely went in the water. Like I almost crossed onto dry land, almost threw far enough. But again, I should have just gotten it right away because it wasn't irretrievable, and I just didn't grab it immediately like I should have. And it was a par 5 too, so I was out of sight for probably 8 minutes before I remembered it and tried to come back and get it. So I didn't see anybody fish it out, but I wasn't there. Dylan says, lost my ward in a pond today and first leopard that I ever got. That's sad. I'm sorry. Hopefully you get a better leopard that flies even better for you. And I know there are plenty of wardens out there with your name on them, so hopefully replacements will fly well, but it's always a bummer to lose disc. I chucked an Echo into the water at Scrapyard, and I need to check with Mr. Jimmy, because I don't know if I have my name or my number on it or not. I think I do. But he should fish him out, and I should be able to get that back. Doc says, Brad, check with the other guy, but buy another Brave instead of a Doomsday Craft single. Already bought the square disc. It's at my house. Yeah. But I appreciate it. Doc says, Dylan, love the Wardens, but lemon-scented judges are nice. I don't know lemon-scented judges so nice. Yeah, they actually smell like lemon. So if you want them, they're out there. Zach says, it's up to Justin. Yeah, hopefully he comes around and takes you disc golfing soon. It's about time. See, it's overdue. Overdue. Wonder if that guy came back and grabbed it. Sounds sus. I think he went straight to his car. Anyway, we'll see. I hope I get it back. I don't need it for the event, but I did throw it on a 420-foot downhill, 413-foot downhill par 4, where you have to miss a billion trees. I put it deep of the basket, about 45 feet past the basket for an eagle putt. I would like to have that disc for that shot because I think I know how to throw it. I think I have the feel of that hole, and I don't want to sub it another Brave and take a chance of throwing poorly. Chuck says, how many Taco Bell trips have been had? So I just hit Taco Bell twice. I hit Taco Bell on twice in the same day on my drive. So during 13-hour drive, hit Taco Bell for lunch, hit Taco Bell for dinner. I start off with a Lux Box Supreme, which is crunchy taco, chalupa, chicken chalupa, which those taste pretty good, pretty darn good. Beefy 5-layer burrito, and then chips and cheese. And that was really good. And a Mountain Dew, which helped with just some caffeine middle of the day for focus on driving, although it wore off a couple hours before I actually got here. And then I had a nice Crunchwrap Supreme for dinner, which was actually the perfect choice for dinner. Really carried me through the rest of the drive, which was nice. But after I got here, I bought groceries. I made myself food for the week, made dinner. I've been making myself egg, bagel, ham and cheese sandwiches for breakfast. If I don't really officially have lunch, then I'm having some cereal or something to carry me through the middle of the day. Granola bars, pretzels, stuff to keep me going. No more Taco Bell until after the competition is done. Yes. So I'm very strict about I'm pretty strict about my diet. The thing that is tearing at me a little bit is right after I bought all my groceries, I drove by a restaurant called Tacos for Life. And now I want to go. I need to go to this place. Maybe after my final round, or if I don't make the cut, I will console myself by going to Tacos for Life. That's probably what I'm going to do. Caleb says, won a pastry dye Paul Ulibarri stamped nuke on Whatnot for $7. Oh, nice. That's the danger of Whatnot. I know Doc runs into that sometimes. I thought he was saying something about the Whatnot. Yeah, I know Doc is on Whatnot all the time. Doc says, yes. Oh, the scented. Dylan says, maybe we can put our scent on discs and train a dog to find them. That's genius. Doc says, yes. Sorry, I do have a banana scented Warden. And he says, Dylan, kind of genius. Yes, that is absolutely genius. Yes, absolutely. Chuck says, the Lux Box Supreme for $7 is such an insane good deal. Yes, it takes me back because it's obviously inflation. Things are different these days. When I was younger, the $2 meal deals were so amazing. Beefy 5-layer burrito, drink, and chips. You can get Doritos. $2. Now, obviously, that's just never going to happen. But the way that the Lux Box is put together for $7 is actually great. Because just 2 beefy 5-layer burritos is like $9. And I get 2 sides of sour cream. It gets really expensive. Because it's like 80 cents for a side of sour cream, which is unbelievable. But the Lux Box is great. So yeah, $7. It's a somewhat new discovery of mine, and I'm happy I found it. And it's nice to get a little variety. I love my 2 beefy 5 layers with sides of sour cream. They're fantastic. But having the crunchy taco, it's good, but it makes me like look forward to the really, really good beefy 5-layer. And then the chalupa is like, it's just a nice balance to it. To eat that, the chicken chalupa, and then the beefy 5, I don't know. They hit so well. A little bit annoying to eat while driving, though. Yeah. Not the most ideal. But it wasn't terrible, and the box was nice to have for eating out of and spilling, even though I still missed, for sure. Candlelight says, choosing to read these disc names out of context. There are some interesting disc names for sure. Chuck says, what the heck is Whatnot? And that is, Doc says, Whatnot is a bidding site for discs and everything else. So it sounds like a new eBay, but it's more, I'm guessing, more streamlined and quick. I actually haven't used it myself. I've just heard of it a lot because disc golf, big on Whatnot. Whatnot is free for 3 months. I still get the shakes, but I'm getting better. Oh, sorry. I read that as like a free trial. Doc says that he is Whatnot free for 3 months. Still get the shakes, but getting better. I'm glad that you're getting better. Ben says, got a smelly envy from a Gyrobox. Pine scented. Ooh, look at that. Hey, Dujit's here. Heck yeah. Thanks for hopping in, Dujit. The source of the Fantasy Football League, the Birdietime Fantasy League that we started, and the origination of the Discord as well. And speaking of, a great way to get more communication when I'm not live or just with other community members is our Discord. I don't know if I can drop a link right now, but I don't know if maybe Duja, if you can drop a link, that would be amazing. But we do have the Discord going, and it'd be awesome if you want to hop on and join that. We have a lot of different channels talking about Pro Tour events and spoilers that are going on, or you can leave that alone and not have anything spoiled for you. Ask for form review help. Um, talk about soup, which Doc somehow took over to talk about food in general, which I think is totally rude. I'm gonna have to fire him from Discord. Dude just says, and he's talking about Taco Bell. Hey, I got asked. About Taco Bell. The question was, how many times have I gone to Taco Bell? The answer is 2, and it was both on Friday. And since then, I've been very good about eating more rounded, balanced, healthy foods and getting myself prepped for competition. Taco Bell after. Dylan says, beefy, nacho, loaded, grilled was goated. Rip. Yep. Yep. Dude was fishing. Did catch one, though. Just not that big. What did you catch? Were you river fishing or lake fishing? Did you catch a bass? Perch? Bluegill? Crappie? Carp? Probably not. Probably didn't catch a carp. Doc says, dude, by the way, if I want to be lazy, can I just keep rolling over my football or do I have to make changes and stuff often? Good question. Dylan says, take me back to Taco Bell had the 80s bus seat style. Yeah. Y'all kids should have been around for the Wendy's buffet. They had great tacos. Dude says, good to check it once a week, but just make sure your players aren't injured or out. If they replace them from your bench or the waivers. Okay. Chuck says, I'm off to check out Whatnot. Oh boy. Chuck's about to spend some money on some discs. And Doc says, Chuck, tell me all about it when you come back. Birdie Time Official League. Sorry, I didn't get that quite right. That's great. Dylan Anthony, my discs usually smell old and dirty because I only buy used discs. You could probably put the link where you put the polls at. I probably could, but I'd have to go get it. I'd have to go copy it. Nothing wrong with that, but a new disc might fly a bit different, of course. Yep. Yeah, I've gotten lots of used discs. Both Enigmas in my bag I bought used, and they're great. They fly a little different from each other, but I want both of them. Brad said we could try to make logos for him. I'll need a PG-13 and above room. That will not be happening. But the logos, yes. That would be very cool to get some logo styles put together. And I would love to just look through some design logos from you guys. That would be really cool. That would touch my heart. Dylan says, Doc, don't think I've ever thrown a new disc. Might buy a new one since I lost my driver. Yeah, get yourself a nice new Leopard. It'll fly nice. It'll fly more stable, though, probably. Especially if you get champion plastic. Can I suggest a shoe or a dragon? Don't waste your new disc money on a dragon. Just don't do it. Please don't do it. Buy a Brave. Don't buy a dragon. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Okay. Dude just says catfish and fish for crappie as well. Okay. And 3 pounds, that's solid. Yeah, 3 pounds smallmouth bass. Nice. In a friend's pond in his backyard. That's fun. That's fun. I grew up fishing on vacations with my parents. Lots of bluegill, perch, a couple of crappie, but that was pretty much what we were aiming for, intending to get. But I did go bow fishing and shot a few carp. That was very fun. Those things were toast. Nice little meal there. Personal best is 7 pounds. That's very solid. Ooh, great question. Anders says, should I play my first tournament? I would say yes, and I would say you don't want to play in your first couple of weeks of playing, but once you have the basics down, once you can throw without endangering anybody, yeah, play a tournament. Play in the lowest amateur division and just test the waters out, have a good time, don't have any expectations, and see what it's like to play in a competitive environment where it's also kind of relaxed and where you're kind of expected to follow the rules. I would suggest looking up the PDJ rules. Probably would seem a little bit overwhelming if you haven't ever read through them, but it's just good to get a little bit of understanding of what does a lie mean? Where are you supposed to stand or run up to when you throw? Can excuse me, when you're up in the circle, you have to stand behind your lie and maintain your balance when you putt. You can't step past it or jump inside the circle. Just stuff like that. What do you do when your disc goes out of bounds? Where do you play from? All of that is clarified for official PDJ sanctioned events. So make sure you check that out. But yeah, do it. Yeah, get a tournament in. I recommend it. Tournaments are great. You can put into it what you want to get out of it. Play very competitive or play just a relaxed, fun round with some buddies or meet some new people. That's a really good part of tournaments as well. Getting to know the people who run the events and then who are involved in competing a lot locally. I can send the link in chat. You can copy it, Brad. That would be great. Jelana says Ed Sheeran. None of the musical talent, some of the red hair and pasty skin. Agreed. Jill Anthony says, do you play any other sports? I played 16 years of soccer, including for college. Just on the college JV team. I had a scholarship, but it wasn't like full ride or anything like that. But yeah, so yeah, lots of soccer. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed like a couple of intramural sports. Played ultimate frisbee quite a bit. I enjoyed volleyball a lot, but I wasn't amazing at it. Those were my big sports that I was really into. I also did cross country and track and field, so was always fairly athletic throughout all of elementary, middle school, high school, always competing, playing something. But I would say I was probably, relative to everyone I played with, I was probably best at ultimate frisbee before switching to disc golf. But I think I'm better at disc golf now than I ever was at soccer after 16 years. I'm happy about my sport choice. Doc says, are there non-disc golf sports? Pork Chop says, you look like my son. Oh, you sound like one of my parents, I guess. I don't know. Dylan says, do you think you should average par before playing tournaments? I would say no, because a lot of MA4, at least where I grew up, I shouldn't say grow up, at least where I started playing disc golf competitively, MA4, only the winners were under par. Everyone was even, +2, +5, +7, +10. And then first and second were like 2 down, 5 down, or 2 down, 1 down, depending on the day. So I would not say you have to play under par. If you're playing really easy courses, then maybe. But even just moderately easy courses, a lot of MA4, even MA3 players are playing over par. So I don't think that you need to average par unless you want to only compete if you think you're going to have a chance to win. I would say try out a tournament if you're just averaging like 9 over, because that's half bogeys and half pars, or that's bogeys and birdies and a few pars, depending on how you play. You're going to want to be able to birdie every once in a while, probably. But yeah, playing over par is just fine. Yeah. Do I need a mini disc? You do not need one because you can leave your disc on the ground and throw from behind it. But a mini disc is helpful for marking because it can get you a little bit closer, especially when you're putting, and it lets you reuse the disc that you just threw. So you're not allowed to pick up your disc without marking it in front of it. A lot of tournaments, though, they will provide you a mini or they will sell some minis. So you might even be able to get one just by showing up if they have some merchandise available. Also, don't forget to bring a marker of some sort. There will be sticklers on that, Duja says. Yes. So a mini disc or just don't pick up your disc. Yeah. Doc says, nah, Dylan might make you better having people to play with. Anders, you can use a Pringles can lid. I believe that's technically true, but yes, it needs to. There are technically limitations on what you can have as a mini marker, but it's generally speaking rounded and not too tall. You can use any circle thing that's 3 to 4 inches in diameter. Yeah. What is your favorite driver? So I would say overall favorite driver, and I just put it back, of course, is the Brave. It's just a 7-speed driver, controlled driver, but it has so much glide and it has a gentle turn to it. It's just really, really nice. So I love the Brave, but my go-to for distance is the Wild Honey, and then kind of intermediate distance and control is the Enigma 12-speed. So those are a couple of my favorites, but the Brave is the most used driver probably, especially in Charlotte where I'm throwing through the woods a lot. If I'm going to have a driver, I want it to be a slower 7-speed control driver, even though it can still get a lot of distance. Okay, good night. You guys are awesome, but I am a little bit behind on chat. All right. Dude just says, there's the link, and I don't see it. Dang it. Did it not get pushed through? Disc golf, you can use your hands, so better than soccer. Dude just says, hey, I can use my hands. Yeah. Soccer, yeah, you're the goalie. Doc says, my bad. Or goalie, my man. Yes, you can obviously use your hands as goalie. And you're throwing the ball in when it goes out, which happens a lot. And picking it up and placing it for the corner kicks. I'm being pedantic, but yeah, you don't use your hands for it. Starting your first varsity season. Ooh, heck yeah. Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Meacock says hello. Thank you for hopping on, Mick. Dude just says first regular season game is Tuesday. All right. Yes, good luck. You're going to do great. If you don't get caught, it's not cheating, Doc says. Yeah, the refs will see what you do. The refs will notice. Caleb says, I'd recommend finding a local league and playing in doubles and singles locally. It'll help gauge your skill level. That's a great intro to competitive events where it's very loose, it's very cheap. Usually leagues are $3 to $5 to play, unless you want to pay for more stuff like CTPs. Pork says, is your name Jacob? No, but I have a brother named Jacob, so it's kind of close. Anders says, it is kind of local. It is kind of local. For a league? Dude just says, really close, pork chop. Doc says, yeah, Caleb, and ask if people will watch you to make sure you follow the rules. Sometimes some casual league players aren't sticklers. Yes, true. It's a great idea to have people help you brush up on understanding of the rules. Might play the amateur division. I mean, I would recommend amateur, absolutely. I would not recommend starting an MPO. I would recommend playing MA4, which is the lowest amateur division for your first tournament. If there is no MA4, MA3 is a great place to start, but I would not try MA2 or MA1 because they might be pushing you onto the longest tee pads. You might be playing on holes where you're expected to throw across a lot of water, and your skill level, I don't know you, but your skill level may not be there. So it might be like a surprise of you're playing a really difficult layout that you're not really qualified for or ready for. So take the lowest amateur division available for your first time. Quashrick says, I'm going to get off and watch a movie. Good night. All right, good night. Thanks for joining us and hanging out. And everybody check out that Rainbow Six channel, Quatrick R6. Pork says, did you delete my comment? I miss you a lot, buddy. I don't think I deleted anything. The link was right above it. Nope, it's not there. It must censor it from you guys. It deletes links to prevent spam, probably. But I should be able to put a link out. All right, I'll do it. I appreciate it, though, Dujit. All right. Let's see. We got to get ourselves Birdie Time Disc Golf. Invite people. Should just be link. Okay. Let me know if this shows up for you guys. Boom. I put the link in, the Discord link in the chat. Somebody tell me if it's there. Pork Chop says, I'm in Arkansas now. Wow, I'm in Missouri now. That's funny. John Kelly says, tried that wild honey after hearing it was your biggest bomber. Helped me get a birdie last Monday on a par 5 in league. All right, that's awesome. It is just a disc that goes far. It just goes far. It zips out of the hand and has great glide. So I'm glad it's working for you. That's great. Got the link. Okay, awesome, awesome. So it looks like only I can post a link. So that's a good thing. But I appreciate you putting that work in, Dujit. And now we know. Doc says, I need MA6. Dylan says, what distance do you think a beginner should hit? So other than your first couple of days, if you've learned how to grip a disc in just general form, I think you should be throwing over 100 feet pretty quickly. I think 200 feet is a good benchmark for beginner players who have been playing for more than a couple of days. So if you kind of developed your game a tiny bit, I think 200 feet is pretty reasonable to expect. When I started, I threw with bad form and I threw like 90 feet, 120 feet at most, and my form was terrible. As soon as my brother taught me how to grip a disc, I still had bad form and I threw about 200 feet. So I would say 200 is a good benchmark. And then I would say you're moving on from beginner if you're pushing 250 to 300 feet on purpose every time you can throw that far. I would say you're pushing on from beginner to more of an intermediate or recreational player. Andrew says throw 275 feet. So 275 is solid. Um, but yeah, obviously it depends on how long you've been playing, but 275 is a good throw. That's decent distance. Oh, here we go. Do you have any tips? Dude says, do you have an X step? That is a great way to add distance, and that was a huge thing for me because my form was rough around the edges. I threw like I was going to throw a frisbee. When I added the X step, I added 40 feet easily, and it made it easier to throw accurately, consistently, and with distance. And over time, I added more distance when I got more used to it. But I'll warn you, the very first time I threw the next step, my arm went tingly for about 45 seconds and partially numb. So it's going to be weird, but you'll figure it out. All right, okay. Caleb Sneed, local league hosts a monthly non-sanctioned amateur tournament. It's pretty wild. Cool, that's fun. That's really fun. Oh, Dylan says aim for distance. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, if you're a beginner, I would aim for 250. I think 250. Once you're passing that, you're like moving up and starting to throw well. You just says, do you have an option to send it as an announcement or maybe a poll with no options so it stands out at the bottom? Create a poll. No, I don't think so. I don't think you'll be able to click on it. The funny thing is, though, with the poll, you can say yes or no. Are you in the Discord? Yes or no? No. All right, the answer is no, apparently. That's funny. Doc says, Anders, put a towel or two in a Ziploc bag. That way, if it rains, they will stay dry. Also, for rain, keep a paper towel in your throwing pocket. It will keep your hand dry. Yes, that can work. I have a towel. I have multiple towels in my bag at all times. I just use a towel for my hand to keep it dry, but some people like chalk, stuff like that. You just get a chalk bag and abuse it like Gannon. When you're the best, Doc says try to use the bathroom before you leave home. Might be crowded the course. Sometimes, that's true. Don't think you can copy it, unfortunately. That is too bad. Steven says hello. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Steven. I will warn all of you, won't be going for too much longer. I am somewhat tired. I have some editing I want to do. I need to clear. So I filmed 2 of my rounds, and I have a bunch of birdies waiting on my phone. I'm going to have to edit some of them so I can delete some of the footage and film my 3rd round tomorrow. So, got some work to do tonight. Dude says, Steven here. I don't get that, sorry. Dylan says, I didn't realize how bad my form was until I filmed it last week. Feel like I can throw far around 300, 350, but it's so inaccurate. Yeah, I would say X step and plant foot do a ton for accuracy. If you are correctly stancing before you throw, there's a smaller window where you're going to throw and miss your line. If you are stancing poorly, all of a sudden your aim window opens up wide and you can throw anywhere. My brother-in-law can throw further than me, but when he plants his foot, it's all over the place and he'll shank it off 45 degrees to the right. I don't do that. But it might go 420 feet to the right. Take some cash. Might be people selling stuff. We're doing great, but Brad's got to go soon. Happy and sad to hear, yeah. But practice is going really well this weekend. I had a good practice round yesterday. I learned a lot about the course in OB, so I threw OB several times, but my additional tee shots I threw better, and then I walked up and realized where the OB was, where I should be throwing, what disc I should be throwing instead. But I went 3 down yesterday with 3 bogeys. Today, I went 7 down with a double bogey in the last hole and felt great. Just like great C1 putting, hit a long C2 putt, just hitting my angles, hitting my lines. When I messed up, I parred, and I feel like Harmony Bends I'm going to play quite well at. And then I have one more course to try tomorrow. We'll have to see how tough it is for me. What course is the tourney on? Harmony Bends, Joseph C. Miller, and the Dam. So 3 courses, 5 rounds. We'll be playing the Dam and Harmony Bends twice each. Yeah. Tournament starts on Tuesday. I don't know what time I tee off yet. I'll find out tomorrow night, and I will post about it and post a link to everyone as well so that you guys can see when it will get started. But it will be Tuesday, probably after 10 a.m. if I had to guess. But it's possible that they randomize how they set up tee times, so I could be at 8 a.m. I really hope not. And if I am, I hope that I just put up a solid score, play later in the day the rest of the week, and can rest for the rest of the day. Dude just says I have a pretty packed weekend next weekend. Idlewild, soccer, and birthday. Dude, it's going to be a great weekend. You're going to have a great day, a great weekend. You're going to compete well. You're going to have a great time. Caleb says, praying for your brother. Thank you. Keep us updated. We'll be doing lives every night. So I can't go live, or I'm choosing to not go live every night, but I will be posting. So look out for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube posts where I'll be giving some updates for how the rounds have gone. And also, if you just ask in a comment, I'll respond to that as well. So YouTube comments, I will definitely be replying to. But I will go live again next Sunday after the tournament is done. Hopefully, I will have made the cut, and I'll be able to tell you how my final round goes and how my tournament went overall. So I will be updating throughout the week, but the biggest in-person or personal, I guess, update will be next Sunday night around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier. We'll see. Dude just says, UDisc and PDGA Live are so much better than paper. Yes, they are. Dylan says, that's a good point. I don't think about my feet much. I'll try it out. Yes, and best way to know if you're looking at good X-step and plant form, Joel Freeman has a really great video. I think he calls it Still Can't Throw 400 Feet. Try this. Something like that. Something about Still Can't Throw 400 Feet. And does a very good job of demonstrating how you don't want to plant your feet aligned with each other. You want a gap. And when you do that with your plant foot, it opens up for your swing, and it keeps your accuracy window limited in a good way. So look up that video. I highly recommend it. Joel Freeman, Still Can't Throw 400 Feet. Try this. It really helps. Yeah. Dude just says, you're just old. And Doc says, I'm old. Dylan says, do you ever get nervous when people watch you throw? I tend not to for now because I've played in competition a lot, including on lead cards. I was able to play in lead card while being filmed with Paul Ulibarri. That was the most intimidating I've ever felt competing in disc golf, and I feel like in a lot of ways it also helped me kind of get past it because I was able to experience it. It was a lot, and then I got past it, and now I'm like, I could do that again. I'll handle it better. But no, I've had some playoffs with like 50 people watching. It can be a lot, but I'm able to, because I've played enough, I'm able to block it out, focus on my disc, focus on my shot, focus on the tee pad, take a few breaths, and then execute as best as I can. Think about the people later. Yeah. You got this. Autopilot. If I'm putting autopilot, I'll be very happy this weekend. Dude just says almost every time, Dylan. It can happen, but yes. Keep working at it. Keep working on mentality. Mentality goes so far, and just framing things in a healthy way can do a lot for you with confidence. Also, like I have been struggling with confidence on the putting green, but in the last 10 days, I've putted like 1,850 times, and I have way more confidence on the putting green after 1 week. I have so much more confidence on the putting green. So repetition and practice do a ton, but also setting up your mindset, like realizing that yes, people are watching you, but block out this idea that they're waiting for you to mess up or you're going to embarrass yourself. Just get rid of all of that. That's nonsense. And focus on what you're supposed to do and do it to the best of your ability. And if you mess up, which I have done with people watching, it's okay. Mistakes happen. Everybody screws up. No one is going to remember yours in like specifically, unless it's something very funny, in which case I'm sorry. That can happen and people can remember that. But for the most part, just do your best. It'll be all right. Okay, I'm gonna get through some comments and wrap things up. Sam Gilchrist, I play disc golf. What is the hardest course and why? Probably Northwood Black. It's just tiny fairways, tons of trees, and if you get off, you're taking a bogey. Also, toboggan is very hard because tons of elevation. It's hard to throw with a lot of downhill or uphill elevation, and the distances are massive. So if you don't bomb and you don't throw elevation well, toboggan will kill you. And it's like 30 stories of up and down. Tough courses. Maple Hill is also very hard. Take extra socks. Yep. Dude just says, depends on who you ask. Northwood Black, Maple Hill, and Nevin are some of the hardest ones. Look at that. 2 out of 3, and I actually thought of Nevin, but the short layout isn't that bad. But yeah, longs, pretty tough. Hold off on reaching out about the hat design until you're done with this tournament. That will be great, because I just won't have that much capacity until next week. But I appreciate it, man. Can you just invest in some higher quality waterproof shoes like Vessies, but they're pretty expensive? That's true. Got a video showing the Dr. House Waffle House, and it's okay, totally lost. Waterproof, but if you fall in or go too deep, your socks can still get wet. True. If I lived alone, I would not be watching that many ghost-related stuff. Also, if real hot, you have 2 rounds, spare socks, can just feel more confident. It's true. If you get sweaty feet, that can be annoying. Dylan says, especially when I putt as well. Yes. At that point, you're already committed to something, and you might as well take them off. Okay, you guys are in your own conversation. Slip down the hill of a road after throwing. Luckily, no one saw. That can, yeah. Oh, T-pad, not road. Yeah, that can happen. I've slipped on camera and posted it. It can be a little embarrassing. But I'm glad no one saw. First doubles tournament, also my first time playing with other people. Literally missed 7 birdie putts inside of 15 feet. But I bet you next time they'll do better. It happens. It happens. I missed multiple circle 1 putts in front of Paul Uleberry, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm so bad at this. But it's okay. Because I beat Ule. By like 1 or 2. Didn't want to talk about my sweaty feet, but yeah, Brad, my feet get sweaty. If I'm playing 2 rounds, I'll have an extra pair of socks in case I want to change. And I sometimes will, for sure. All right, guys, if you have any extra questions, go ahead and ask them quickly, but I'll be cutting this off after an hour and a half. To summarize, I have really enjoyed prepping for AM Worlds. I'm feeling very good about it. If I putt well, if I play according to game plan, I think I'm going to be top 50. I just feel like that is, I don't have to play amazing. I think I'm going to play, if I play well, I'm going to be up there. So I'm very excited to see what happens. Favorite disc, probably the Brave. Echo, those are 2 of my favorites. That's not a Brave. That's a Brave. Brave is way up there. Throw it all the time. What is your goal placement at AM Worlds? Okay. Top 10% is my goal. That would be 28th place out of 288 players. So top 10%. I think I'd have to play amazing to get 15th. I don't think I can get better than 10th. There are just too many great players. So loosely speaking, top 30 is that's where I'm aiming. But I really, first goal, make the cut. Second goal, top 30. Yeah. Dude just says he gets 17th. I'm calling it. What are prizes? I don't know. I don't know if there are any real prizes beyond first. I know there's a trophy. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. For me, it's going to be if I can get a low place, like top 25, that will be a good, just a helpful thing for future partnerships and sponsorships to say, hey, I took 22nd at AM Worlds. Like, that would be great. It's AMs you can't cash. Yeah, I don't know if they have real prizes. Maybe there's just merge credit. Maybe it's merge credit for stuff. I'm not sure. Top 20, Doc says. That would be great, Doc. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm sure Brent would win, right? Steven says, good night, good luck. You'll be awesome. I hope. Thank you all for the encouragement. Really appreciate it. Tuesday to Saturday is weird. It's Worlds, though. And technically, it's to Sunday, actually. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not to Sunday. Wait, what? I'm not thinking straight. Is it not to Sunday? It's not 6 rounds. Tuesday to Saturday is weird. It should be Wednesday to Sunday. Anyway, now that you've freaked me out about that, I'm going to triple check. JST says, hey, handsome. Doc, I think that's for you again. Dude, Dylan says, good luck. Maybe we can get Taco Bell sponsor. Oh, that would be amazing. Wins a lifetime of Taco Bell. Guys, ask your local Taco Bell for a sponsorship. Guys, that'd be great. Taco Bell goes out of business. Do you use saltwater fish? I don't really. Mostly freshwater, bluegill, crappie, bass, perch, stuff like that. Yeah. Doc says, please, I'm blushing, but thank you. But yes, I did. I saw the people who got married at Taco Bell. Of course, I saw that story. Yep, that was great. Yep. I would be like, this has been my dream. I used to watch a little bit of Kim Possible with my sister, and Ron Stoppable won like 5 cents on every sale of his local taco place or whatever. And that ended up being like $99 million or something insane. And it's my dream to have the inverse of that and win $99 million worth of free Taco Bell for my lifetime. I would have so many Cinnabon Delights. That would be bad. But it's my dream. All right. Brad proposes with nachos. Too old, but did like Kim Possible. Nice. All right, guys. Thanks again. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for the support. I'll be posting. I'll be giving explanations of my rounds. So keep posted. I'll keep you posted. Stay posted. Whatever. Just pay attention. All right, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys soon. Hopefully, with good news about how my rounds are going. Peace out. Now I have to get up. If you don't get 17th place, me and Duju will be sad. Jonathan says, what is this? This is a disc golf live stream, but it's ending. I'm sorry. Tony Kelly says, good luck this week. Keep us posted. Will do. All right. Love you guys. Peace out. Ugh.